All right. Hello, everybody. It is time for news day, and the heat, I think, has me beat. Yeah, here where I am in Japan, I think a lot of places in the northern hemisphere, because it is summertime, it is very warm. The wet bulb temperature here is pushing 37, if not higher, most days. So I guess I'm just not built for the heat. Anyway, today for JP News, which guess what, Globalers? If we look at the dates of when you guys are supposed to catch up with us, this is less than 4 months now. So be excited. So first off, story update on the 24th will be 342. That, as you can see, is going to be featuring a lot of the ninja type characters. There you go. Next up, we have a new floor that we are going to be going through. And this time around, looks like mace and dagger. I do believe that this was announced more recently, and it's fine. There isn't really too terribly much to say about this. It's, another event, something that people are going to be playing through. I wish I could have more in depth to this. I mean, I'm kind of curious for this for Little Leela, the UR one. And in terms of mace, these weapons are always good, so they potentially allow you to reevaluate certain characters. I'm gonna keep maybe a closer eye on this one. Maybe do something to do around these wave battles because I feel like I've been skipping out on them. Maybe I should be focusing a little bit more. But anyway, mace and dagger. Next up is what I would consider to be real news. So today we got the announcement that, normally the third week on JP is just a VC, and that's basically it. But here we have a character VC and VC, so not showing you too much on that one. Let's start off with Swimsuit Aiden, a magical ranged character that has been out on global for, a while now. Looking at his master ability, is shooting attack resistance penetration up by 20 and shooting attack power up by 5. Now, I'm curious what a splash he will make on JP. Currently, wind element is fairly good. I don't know if there's a ton of room for this character. I'm curious if JP will have any specific, really ways of increasing his power to make him more competitive with modern characters. I mean, he will also get his 140, which I don't think Global has yet, so that might be a little more interesting. But there is going to be another beach character, swimsuit character coming up probably for the beginning of August. And if I'm remembering correctly, I do believe that it's just supposed to be a new version of Classy, because that's who won on the JP character poll. Because JP is really unoriginal at this point. I mean the fans, and they just love going for Glassy every single time. Or Alaya, very simple breed, I guess. I don't know. Don't think too much about that. It's not important. The thing is that I don't know if this is going to be an overly important character for JP or whether he'll be extremely relevant. I think he'll be generally pretty good. A little bit different and unique because he is a magic type gunner, but probably is going to be fairly easy to at least pass on for a lot of players like myself, just until we see what the actual new character is. And I'm curious whether or not the timing was planned for this, because it could mean that new version of Glassy is going to be an ice character, which I am more interested in. So, moving on, let's talk about the VC. And you know what? I will even pull this up, because this I'm a little more curious about, because vision cards are well, interesting to say the least, especially when they might have just been so long that we get flipped. So Stag of Summer is what it's called in global. And on global, you have the unit effect of missile resistance and magic on the unit, with an increase of magic or missile attack by 5 and AoE resistance for Jaden of 10. Party effects are increased missile attack resistance penetration of 35, increased splash resistance by 10, and acquired AP by 50%. And that is not the JP vision card. JP is going to be, first of all, it's not an elemental card. It's now a job-based vision card. The bestowed effect is magic power up and blast attack resistance penetration rate up, which is already focused heavily on Jaden. And then we talk about the party ability. Now, the party ability works for spears, guns, daggers, and books, which is kind of a pretty interesting group. And I'm going to come back to it in just a second, because max HP up and elemental chain resistance are the primaries, with magic power up being the maxed out ability. Now, not incredibly crazy, but at the same time, I think it's also pretty interesting for just change from the actual global. Like, the VC is very, very different. If you look at like spears, guns, daggers, and books, actually one of the groupings I'm most interested in is potentially for ice, just because like it's essentially Velis Ferris in combination with the new Jaden for ice spears, and it's magic power up, so it even supports that, which is pretty cool. And you can kind of go with maybe, like, I can't really think of who that third party member is, but maybe somebody out there is thinking. But it's an interesting card for ice as well as potentially wind. Because obviously, wind, I mean, you could go spears and guns here with, like, Flag Glassy, Resor 140 with Jaden. It's not the best combination, so, but this is a pretty interesting VC now, and I think it's worth keeping an eye on. And yeah, I mean, I'm just particularly interested. Now, JP, these are normally supposed to be time limited, and as of right now, yeah, it is a limited, it's still a limited time VC, which is unfortunate, because I think this one would be pretty cool if it wasn't limited and you could get this later. Such as it is, I'll keep an eye on it because I want to see the full stats before I make any kind of official judgment. But this VC might be worth it for certain groupings, and it might actually take an interesting match for grouping of ice into a better place than it already was. So stay tuned. Now, as for the last one, we have a new VC, which this is the ultimate, or at least for the sake of this video, this is the ultimate FU to dark elemental stuff. Because this VC is a job VC. It is for large swords, ninja swords, katanas, and staffs, such as Guru. So basically, it does support our newest character, Shawls, who is in the fire element. And what we're essentially looking at here, for bestowed effect, magical attack power up, and increased attack resistance of dark attribute abilities. Now, that in itself is kind of interesting, because it's a job VC that actually protects against a specific element. But the main party ability is dark attribute ability attack resistance up. So it has it on the bestowed effect as well as on the main party effect, which is a double benefit for whichever character has this equipped. And not only does it have that, it also has human killer up for physical attacks, and for maxing out the level, flash attack resistance penetration rate up. I have to say, this is a really interesting VC that actually is kind of interesting, especially if Fire gets a new katana wielder that's really good. I mean, it does work already with large sword, which basically is Hayo. Hayo, off to work we go. An alternate version of Rain, who is in the fire element and uses great sword. Ninja sword, you know, I can think of a few characters already that would particularly like this. You're getting slash attack resistance, you're getting human killer. It's very strong for that. But even if you look at just the katana in combination with large sword, there's potential in dark. There's potential in multiple different elements for this, and the staff with Guru potentially gives those parties of still having pretty strong support. And essentially, this is I'm hunting dark elemental parties. That's fine. But it is a very specific VC. But again, if the elements line up, and they definitely do right now, boy, is this VC just answering a very specific like grouping of enemies on JP. And it'll be interesting to see what the final numbers work out to be on this in terms of like, you know, raw stats on the VC with the combination of these numbers. But this VC, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on. This might be really interesting to push fire back, even like push fire even harder into meta and being a dark killer. So cool. And last but not least, Jaden. Of course, Swimsuit Aiden is coming. I should also mention that Swimsuit Aiden coming to the game is part of like the worldwide app celebration push that they're doing right now. But anyway, Aiden's weapon will also be being put into the game as a farmable weapon, and it'll be interesting to see how the stats work out on that. Again, potentially buffing the character. So yeah, that's everything for this week in JP. Now, it's just to be said, you know, what are going to be the kind of log-in bonuses for JP? What will the banners look like? And then as we get closer to, you know, just finishing off the month, what will month of August hold for all of us? Because it, you know, like with the announcement of the worldwide stuff, this is just something at the end of the video. I think that it's quite hypothetical that we do see a collaboration around the time that, like, our next collaboration, whatever it is, I think there's a very high chance that it will be a global and JP same time collaboration to do with moving towards our new shared anniversary period. So anyway, keep a close eye on it, globalers. Keep a close eye on it, JP players. See what happens. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you next time.